Good morning, and we are off to the start of a fresh new day. Actually, the weather is getting very nice in Bangalore. As it is a nice, pleasant weather throughout the year, but this time of the year it kind of gets a little cooler than usual, and there's a mild chill in the air. You don't need a jacket or something, but of course it will be nice if you are wearing some kind of a warm cloth, and you're enjoying the ride every time you take out your motorcycle. So today I'm not off to any of the destinations or any of the excursions that I usually go on the weekends, but today is a very special day because yesterday night before I was going to sleep, I was wondering probably it's time to kind of dispose my GS, sell it off. And today I'm going to talk about how has my experience been for the last 1.5 years, and riding of about 17,000 kilometers on my GS, and what are the reasons that I'm planning to sell it off, and what are the things that I really enjoyed doing on my motorcycle. Not a lot of things, just 3 things. What are the top 3 things which I enjoyed with my GS, and why I'm actually planning to sell it off after 17,000 kilometers. Friends, as you can see, actually the day is getting sunnier and it's beautiful because there is a mild chill in the air, as I said, and the warmth of the sun is actually hitting your skin and your face, and it's a wonderful feeling, both combined together. So what are the 3 top things I liked about owning my G310GS for the last 1.5 years? Well, there are a lot of things I liked, but I'm going to talk today about the top 3 things, the 3 things that made the most difference for me to decide to retain this motorcycle for more than 1.5 years and ride it for more than 17,000 kilometers. If I have to talk about the top 3 things, the number 1 thing that comes to my mind is, of course, the ride quality. And I'm talking this from an experience of riding most of the motorcycles of this category in my lifetime. And I can tell you, nothing compares and nothing even comes close to it. So if you are a person for whom this is the right kind of bike because of the right quality, so if you are a person who is having some kind of a back problem, which means you have some kind of a lower back pain, then probably this is the only bike you should consider in this category. Or if you are above the age of 50, because as we grow older, our vertebral discs gets into some kind of a degenerative mode, and you have things like a disc prolapse or a disc degeneration. That's quite common to a smaller or greater extent, and therefore you would probably like to have something that's more comfortable and absorbs the shocks better. And currently I don't think in India there is any other bike which does this job better than the G310GS, and that's a huge compliment for any motorcycle, I can tell you. That could be probably the only one reason why you would buy this motorcycle and pay a premium for it. Something of similar power figure, similar CC category will probably cost you much less currently. You know which are the motorcycles I'm talking about, but I don't think they will offer a ride quality of this sort. And I'm talking about ride quality. I'm not talking about ride quality only on tarmac. I'm also talking about ride quality when you do mild off-roading or soft-roading kind of rides. So I have done all sorts of terrains on this motorcycle. I've done some extreme off-roads also, small sections, but mostly it has been soft-road. And if it's soft-roading or it is mild off-roading, I think this bike doesn't make you feel any difference other than riding a tarmac. Because when you're riding a tarmac, of course it absorbs everything, the undulations of the roads, everything. And when you're doing mild off-roading also, this is probably the best bike in terms of handling and composure that you can maintain. But it is not an extreme off-roader, it is still an adventure tourer. The focus is on touring across all terrains, it's not off-roading. So it is of course not a dirt bike. Don't treat it like one. As long as you don't treat it like one, it will treat you nicely. So that was the first reason. Now coming to the second reason why I would recommend this bike, and that's about the cycle parts. So starting from the braided cables of the brake wire to the tires, everything. So I have completed 17,000 kilometers. I just went to a showroom recently. I asked them, do I need a tire change? They said no, you can go for another 5,000 kilometers. So that's a hell lot of, tire travel that is recommended on a bike like this. So of course it comes with a con. Like these tires, as you know, these are kind of they're kind of a dual purpose tire, about 70-30 I would say. They are Michelin's, but they are not really off-road tires, so not the real knobby kind of tires, and so they will be a little bit of a hard compound, which will affect the braking performance a bit. Of course I never faced an issue with braking on this bike, as long as you are experienced enough as a rider. But I think the quality of the parts is top notch. The only issue I had in the last 1.5 years is with the battery. Now BMW has of course free of cost replaced the battery both times, and the third time they have replaced with a Indian made battery, and since then I'm not having any problem. Other than that, there is absolutely no issues. Twice probably I've replaced my brake pad and the disc pad, that because of my negligence I didn't notice. So it cost me about 5,500 rupees for replacing the brake and disc pads. Other than that, top notch quality. This can go for another 100,000 kilometers, no issue at all. If you are looking for a bike which you are going to retain long term because of its quality and not face issues, this is the bike. Go for it. Coming to the third point, which kind of is the reason why I would recommend this bike, is the service quality. Mistake me not, I'm not talking about the service center network. So my experience has been phenomenal with the BMW GSP Motorrad. If you're staying in a metro like Bangalore, Mumbai or Delhi or Hyderabad, I'm sure there is a BMW Motorrad service center. I do not know whether all of them are the same or not, but my experience with the BMW Experience Center, that is BMW Motorrad, has been phenomenal. Extremely qualified stuff, diligent stuff, well polished, very well behaved, and the service is fantastic. I had the experience of owning many more motorcycles before. I found the service personnel crude in some cases rude, and some cases probably not up to the mark in terms of skill. But I think BMW has really ensured that the brand name actually matches up to the quality of service they are providing. So these are the three reasons why I would really recommend someone to go for this motorcycle, despite the fact that they will probably have to still pay a premium, even though there are good motorcycles currently available in the same ballpark, which probably a little bit of more power figure. Let me tell you what is the reason I'm planning to dispose of or sell this motorcycle currently. Firstly, I kind of get bored of my motorcycles quite soon, and I have changed probably 15 or 16 motorcycles on scooters in my career. I know that's a bit of laughable kind of behavior, but I enjoy riding new motorcycles, experiencing new machines. Sometimes they are of the same power category or the same displacement category, but nonetheless I think each machine has a character of its own and gives you a very different experience. I've had the experience of owning Hondas, Yamahas, Bajaj, everything. So this is probably one of the longest tenure for which I have retained a motorcycle, but then I have decided to definitely sell it. I'll tell you three reasons why I have decided to, the top three reasons of course, why I have decided to sell it and not keep it longer. The number one reason, if I have to list down, is the character of the engine. Don't mistake me, it's not a bad engine. It's not that it lacks grunt or it vibrates too much like some of the older generation Royal Enfields, nothing like that. But the character is not very pleasant. So recently I had a chance of going to the Triumph showroom and revving I didn't ride it still, I'll probably go for a test ride sometime soon, the Speed 400. I think that engine sounds smoother and it sounds better than this engine. Of course this is the base 6 version, and what I've read is that BMW has improved a lot on the vibration and the engine characteristics, but still I think it's not an ideal kind of sound that I will enjoy, at least at low revs. Of course, between revs of 4 to 6,000 RPM, this sounds really nice, and there is a soft, gentle purr. It's not a roar that kind of emanates out of the machine, of the engine, and you will enjoy it. But below that, I mean, how many times do you rev to 6,000 RPM in city riding? Most of the times you will be in lower RPM, and the sound is not great. So the character of the engine is something I think BMW should think about improving upon. Now, coming to the second reason, the second most important reason why I would probably think about selling this motorcycle. So the second reason is of course the power figures. This engine makes about 34 bhp. It's 313cc, not bad. But for the same kind of price, now we have the options of getting premium motorcycles, which is higher in displacement and higher in power. So this probably will, while cruising on the highway, and that's most of the use that they put this motorcycle to, while cruising on the highway it will sit very happily at about 110 km per hour. That's the time when you are probably doing about 6,500 RPM, and it sounds really nice and pleasant. But beyond that, when you are riding with your friends and friends are riding the 390s and more powerful motorcycle, the 650 twins, then probably you kind of like to wring the neck of the throttle a little more, and that's when this motorcycle doesn't like. So it doesn't like to be revved beyond 6,500, 7,000 RPM, and it will go. So I've taken this motorcycle even to 160 km per hour, believe you may or not. So it does go. 140 it does quite easily. It will also do 150 probably, given the right kind of road and the right kind of length of the road. But probably it is not the happiest sitting at those kind of RPMs and those kind of speeds, and you will really not enjoy the ride. It gets really vibey. So that's the character of the engine is the second reason why I would like to think of selling this motorcycle. Now coming to the third reason why I would recommend or why I'm thinking of selling this motorcycle. The third reason is of course the value for money proposition. So I don't think in the current circumstance, it was value for money when I bought it 1.5 years back, but I think the goalposts have really moved. In the last couple of months, you have had couple of launches from reputed motorcycle brands which offer a much greater value for money in terms of the price they offer, the quality they offer. The quality is no less than the G310GS, and they are as reputed as a brand as BMW, and they come at a price point which is really mouth-watering. So it's not that I'm really bothered about the price, because I didn't think about the price while I was buying this motorcycle. The brand of course had a huge appeal for me. Of the satisfaction of owning a BMW, I think everybody knows in our country what a BMW stands for, and there is a kind of satisfaction you gain out of owning such a brand. But currently I think the value proposition is a little bit lost after the arrival of the brands I'm talking about. I know you know the brands I'm talking about right now. So these are the three reasons why I would probably recommend selling this motorcycle, or recommend reconsidering when you are planning to buy this motorcycle, and the three reasons why I would recommend you to go for this motorcycle even now. Now each person has a different reason for which they buy a motorcycle, and your reason could be very different from mine or anybody else's at this point of time. So you think of the reasons I'm spoken about and see what appeals to you the most and what is most important to you, and take a decision accordingly. So I can see you can still go for this motorcycle even with the current options that you have in the market, but do consider the reasons that I've spoken about and see what appeals to you the most. Ciao. My favorite destination, the Cafe Coffee Day. You can see an array of fantastic motorcycles, Ducatis, Ninjas, wow, and of course the beautiful looking R18 BMW